The city of Detroit has encountered many challenges throughout its history. One issue that has a direct link with architecture today is deteriorating neighborhoods. Homes are in disrepair all throughout Detroit. How can neighborhoods be restored? These deteriorating neighborhoods only lead to further issues. Blight has plagued many neighborhoods such as Jefferson Chalmers. Crime becomes easier and more consistent. Families struggle to stay safe and connected, affecting family members in endless ways. Our research proposal for research methods at LTU is ultimately searching for a means to discover answers for these issues. Following in step with Williamson and Williamson's hybridization project of housing types in Canada, multi-generational homes in deteriorating Detroit neighborhoods merge family resources to enable economic/property upkeep. At the same time, diversity increases and connections occur in family structures. Vast green space opportunities can result from this densified and restored housing, along with better kept neighborhoods. In order to understand the multitude of facets related to housing issues in architecture, we reference the Grange Triple-Double project by Williamson and Williamson. They were approached by a client in need of a home for aging parents and raising a new child who would be quickly growing up. However, they wanted to stay in the popular densifying Toronto Chinatown. With rising costs of living, the prospect of providing for everyone seemed slim. However, Williamson and Williamson had vested interest in pursuing new multi-generational housing typologies, providing cost-effective living as well as respect for the Toronto history and cityscapes. They took this client's needs and used them as opportunities for furthering their research and influence in these realms. The project studied the surrounding zoning and what existing typologies had been approved and used throughout the area. Combining these types, a new home for multi-generational living emerged. This home also respected and morphed to the existing hard street corner and facade edge physical context, employing roof gardens and courts to still allow for green space within. Furthermore, the firm studied the fiscal timeline of the home, considering the grandparents' income, the family, and the eventual children's. To provide further, they considered the local university in the context of the neighborhood and provided 2 rental spaces to help support the home financially, enabling the client's dreams to become real.
With this research approach towards a housing solution in Toronto in mind, Leah and I returned to the neighborhoods of Detroit. To break down our thesis a little further from what we spoke about earlier, for the multi-generational living and costs, grandparents provide a financial asset, while the primary family can help care for them as their needs increase with age. More people in the home provides more potential for property upkeep and more time available for maintenance and beautification. And considering that, densifying the home by removing decrepit structures and bringing multiple family units under one roof provides vast amounts of open space for reuse in Detroit neighborhoods such as Jefferson Chalmers, which is what this diagram here is trying to explain. Our thesis is incredibly important in that these improvements accomplish a number of things. They improve home ownership, which is an issue within Detroit, help with home upkeep, and the ability to fight blight from a patchwork level, one property at a time. These solutions dip into various discourses that Leah and I have pinpointed as important to us and specific to the research proposal. Focusing on specific discourses that we've taken interest in and this idea revolves around, we considered questions that relate to Detroit specifically. First, we considered urban density as it relates to vacancy and available green space. How can increased density create opportunities for large-scale outdoor space in an already vacant neighborhood? We also looked into the aging process. Here, how does architecture help dissolving Detroit neighborhoods bring together families as all ages and provide care throughout all stages of life? And finally, we considered the cost of multi-generational living and how it could help with implications surrounding property and housing in Detroit. What implications does multi-generational housing have on blight, property upkeep, and property values? Some methods that we pursued would be looking into zoning ordinances that have stopped other projects or what limitations that the ordinances have within Detroit. This is another approach that Williamson and Williamson took that we decided to adopt. And here you can see that once we have our limitations, we would continue to step forward. And that we are proposing to use this historic interpretive approach of looking at what exists prior. Basically other examples that have worked within the zoning, similar to what Williamson and Williamson did, and look at opportunities as a framework for housing types that are allowed and what we could continue to hybridize to meet our discourses or to engage our discourses in a creative way. The history of Detroit's housing can also be looked at as a historic interpretive approach to understand past challenges that have gotten the city to the state that is in today. Knowing the context of our project allows the designer to make informed decisions throughout it. Detroit has one of the highest number of single-family homes, for example. A multi-generational approach could begin to swing this back into scale. Taking a look at other organizations also addresses related discourses. For example, Southwest Solution provides rent-to-own opportunities and workshops for Detroit residents seeking home ownership. Their organization has already studied layers of context that we could learn from rather than just starting from scratch. So the ultimate purpose of our proposal, one of the important aspects is that multi-generational living is able to provide diversity within neighborhoods and care for people of all ages, but may not be the dream of the individual. Here we can look at how age diversity can begin to connect families, provide elderly care and also child care, which are exorbitant in cost as they continue to go up. It also enables a more solid family structure, at least opportunity for such, and can help with property upkeep. Here we also have economic viability, where multi-generational housing can help with the financial responsibilities associated with home ownership. Also the upkeep because of multiple incomes within the household and people that are available to work on things with differing time schedules. Something that may become a problem is gentrification of the neighborhood and increased property values all around. Finally, Detroit's deteriorating neighborhoods. If you begin to take a multi-generational approach, there's opportunity to take down homes that are decrepit or unused and essentially begin to densify residential areas. And like we talked before, Detroit's single-family home saturation could become to swing back into balance. And here you would be able to have better property upkeep and also opportunity with green space, open space, and more community approaches, whether that be community gardens or parks or orchards, or plenty of other proposals have been sought in those areas. And some of the challenges would be people getting over their expectations, what their neighborhood are, or also just trying to impose something that the neighborhood truly doesn't want. So you'd have to look into that, as well as just the cost of demolition for existing structures. So yeah, overall, Detroit has a potential to host a variety of multi-generational housing designs, providing for people of all ages and incomes while also creating well-kept green spaces.